What's going on, peeps? Minecraft was a huge part of my childhood. I'm sure billions can relate. I've seen many content creators come and go, often due to some allegations, unfortunately. But after years of mockery due to these occurrences, the game became cool again in 2019. People will credit the likes of PewDiePie or Call Me Carson for this revival. I never stopped playing, so seeing all my friends used to tease me about it come back around was pretty satisfying. We were introduced to a whole new generation of Minecraft YouTubers in the late 2010s and early 2020s. Call Me Carson introduced me to JSlat, who introduced me to Wilbur Soot. Wilbur went on to have one of the more fascinating online career arcs of the bunch. If you saw my last video, he put together an indie rock band, Lovejoy, that produced actual good music for a content creator, breaking that stigma that all YouTubers are bad at it. Lovejoy has been incredibly successful so far since their 2021 inception, with multiple charting songs, a top 10 album, hundreds of millions of streams, and selling out shows worldwide. Everything was going great for Wilbur and Lovejoy. Nothing could stop them. Until 2024. Wilbur has been accused of a lot of bad things, including abuse and assault that has caused a major divide in his fanbase. Nobody wanted this to happen. Wilbur was such a comfort streamer for millions, an amazing entertainer and musician. While I mostly plan to cover his musical journey in this video, we'll explain how we got to this point. With all that being said, strap in. This is the unfortunate case of Lovejoy and Wilbur Soot. William Gold has loved music since he was a kid, even pretending he wrote indie songs to impress friends. He briefly took piano lessons but stopped because they didn't cover music theory. He didn't pick up a guitar until he was 21, but when he did, he knew music would be a big part of his life. He used to follow bands and lock himself in his room to practice guitar for 10 hours a day. Those hours of practice each night made him feel good inside. You see, Wilbur didn't have the greatest upbringing, growing up in a divorced household during his middle school years. To pass the time, he became a regular visitor on YouTube during his earlier years. His first channel is from 2008, Setting 66, that is just him and his friend Ben messing around. Wilbur is quite embarrassed by this channel. In 2011, he created a new channel with a friend, Sophie, Minecraft and Donuts, that features 13-year-old Wilbur's first song, the Squid Song, that he made in 2010 to celebrate 50 subscribers, a parody of Jonathan Coulton's Tom Cruise Crazy. It's all about Minecraft Squid, obviously. Around the time it was added to the game in beta 1.2 during 2011. What a masterpiece. Then there's a little Brit of Will with a few short films. In high school, Will was a theater kid who took several drama classes, along with A-level courses in performing arts and American history. He later attended East Sussex College in Lewes, England, and completed his bachelor's degree in editing and post-production. Turns out his editing experience would lead to a lot of success online. He first became known as a member and editor of the YouTube group Soot House, containing a bunch of his friends, being responsible for the channel name that came from a Tamagotchi forum. This was one of the first channels to popularize the Reddit reading style videos back in 2017, until the channel's hiatus turned abandonment in 2019 to pursue other interests. He also briefly edited for Jack Sucks at Life in 2018, creating a bizarre ARG that gained him infamy in his community. In the background of all this, he began posting funny acoustic songs and covers on YouTube in 2018 that didn't get a lot of traction just yet. When one got a bit of buzz, he got nervous about releasing more out of fear he'd disappoint. Let's look at a few of the most notable. Each of these seems to be inspired by a Reddit made fun of in a Soot House video. The Nice Guy ballad is inspired by nice guys, pointing out typical behaviors of these men who treat women badly, blame them for not dating them, and think they deserve sex for just being nice. Why do good girls want bad guys? I Am Very Smart was inspired by another subreddit, this time I Am Very Smart, who try too hard to seem smart. Duh. Someone who brags about their intelligence and academic achievements. Nobody cares, dude. Karen, please come back, I miss the kids. Slams a stereotypical Karen who left this guy and took the kids. The lyrics or threats here outline why he can't see his kids. Honestly, seems like the Nice Guy ballad if the nice guy somehow got pussy. Wilbur would eventually create a new gaming channel on March 29, 2019 to produce unique Minecraft challenge videos with another rising creator, JSlat, who he had amazing chemistry with. He was eventually invited to join Call Me Carson's SMP Live in July, where each creator was required to be live streaming the entire time they were on the server. This server, as well as PewDiePie's popular series on the game, is widely responsible for the resurgence of Minecraft. It attracted over 100 creators, with many of them going from small streamers videos, averaging 10 viewers, to 1,000,000 subscribers, one of them being Wilbur. If I was to determine the turning point for Wilbur's music career, it would be when he performed the Squid song at S&P Live's talent show in August, in front of thousands of unfamiliar viewers. This clearly brought a lot more attention to Wilbur as a creator, as other than J-Slat telling Joseph at the punchline, he had the most impressive talent that night. As he grew, fans uncovered his obscure acoustic comedy ballads he had posted through the years, like The Nice Guy Ballad, and Karen, Please Come Back, I Miss the Kids. As his gaming channel continued to surge in popularity, he would put out more serious music that was less gimmicky. The EP Maybe I Was Born came out on Christmas Day 2019. This features scraps for his first solo record we'll cover in a bit, all centered around Wilbur's voice and guitar. The title track with backup vocals from Emma Taylor follows a girl who's unhappy in her current relationship. He isn't her type, but she doesn't want to break up with him out of fear of breaking him. She just hopes he doesn't love her enough to want to stay with her forever. For Memories is being thankful for a relationship that helped him grow, but he still misses her and hasn't moved on. In comparison to White Wine and the Weatherspoons, expressing Weatherspoons' alcoholics and their behavior. We'll save the final track for later. Following S&P Live's closure on New Year's Day 2020, Wilbur was largely involved in another SMP, owned by the fastest growing Minecraft creator at the time, Dream. This one was more roleplay focused. Wilbur later became the main writer for this server's stories and background that quadrupled the growth of every streamer involved. Throughout his content creation career, he would continue to find ways to integrate music, leading to the composition of the L'Manberg National Anthem, dedicated to their Dream SMP nation state, L'Manberg. The song uses the melody of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, but with different lyrics. It was officially adopted by the group's founders during the war for L'Manberg independence. Over time, different versions have been made as the nation grew. Now, it's time to discuss the greatest trilogy since The Weeknd's 2011 mixtape series. Meet Lonely Boy, who Wilbur plays as in these three songs, a female streamer or e-girl, and her boyfriend Jared. This is pretty much Wilbur continuing his comedic act of pointing fun at a weird group of men with a guitar, light drums, and a keyboard. This time, incels and simp culture. First up, I am in love with an e-girl on January 29th, 2020, describing your average e-boy who's obsessed with a girl he met online, believing she can fix his mental problems, featuring Chevy who plays the e-girl. What's poppin'? Following is The Internet Ruined Me. Hasn't that aged well? On May 25th, 2020, seeing our favorite e-boy handle a breakup with his e-girl, possibly discovering she has a actual boyfriend. She asks why she won't talk to him, and she says the internet messed him up. Speaking of messed up, his first album, Your City Gave Me Asthma, arrived on June 25th, 2020, out of nowhere. All similar to his comedy music instrumentally, but with much more depressing, anxious lyrics where you can feel each line, earning a cult fanbase as a result. Inspired by a 2-year relationship he had at 17 years old, and contracting asthma after moving to London, developing a dislike for the city. Jubilee Line is a list of complaints about London's pollution and how the government ignores it, even if it results in people with poor health taking their own lives, just for commuters to be annoyed that they'll be late, as these transit systems place barriers in front of the rails instead of addressing these pollution and mental health issues, specifically pointing out the Jubilee Line, known as one of the city's most polluted tube lines. Saline Solution has brief horn integrations with a fear of dying even if he should be fine. Since it saw Vienna involves traveling the world out of loneliness, giving him a constant urge to keep moving that makes him unable to settle down. Losing Face sees Will getting heartbroken by someone who asks him to wait, but quickly starts dating another, leading him to feel ashamed and fall into drinking and self-destructive habits. In comparison to Your Sister Was Right, feeling down, admitting being a bad boyfriend to this girl who ignored her sister's warnings that he'd end up hurting her. La Jolla is dreaming of escaping to start over somewhere new, concluding with I'm Sorry Boris, his hesitance towards leaving the UK. The government is failing its people, yet he stays because he doesn't want to abandon his loved ones. He would truly break out in the mainstream music scene with his highly anticipated single, Your New Boyfriend, the final set of the e-girl trilogy, showing Lonely Boy still emailing his favorite e-girl and singing about her new boyfriend, Jared. Lonely Boy refuses to lose interest. He keeps chasing her, and seemingly Jared. It's arguably the best produced song he has made thus far. Those horns, brief electric guitar riff, gel keys, and a pretty amazing hook. hook. Despite doubts that it'll be successful, within 2 hours, it had already accumulated 500,000 views and went viral across social media. It charted throughout Europe and was even certified gold in the US, as well as being featured on Billboard's Emerging Artists and Rolling Stone's Top Breakthrough. Seeing this success, it was the perfect excuse to transition to music full swing. In the early days of the UK's COVID-19 lockdown, Wilbur and Joe Goldsmith played in a punk folk band and connected over their shared love of rock music, leading to the founding of the Brighton-based indie rock band Hang the DJ? What? Yeah, that was their first name, later rebranding to Lovejoy, named after their friend Benedict Lovejoy, who often joined them as a songwriter in the beginning. Wilbur was the lead vocalist while handling rhythmic guitar and helping out with songwriting of Joe, while Goldsmith handled lead guitar and backing vocals. The two wrote a few songs and realized they were in dire need of a bassist and a drummer to fulfill their vision. Mark Boardman arrived on drums after being hired on Fiverr for studio sessions, impressing them enough to join the band full time. Former TV broadcaster Asthma hopped on bass after Wilbur met him at a Brighton Smash Burger when he saw his bass guitar tied to his back. When the band Lovejoy was announced, they quickly reached 100,000 YouTube subscribers within just a few days. It gave fans of Wilbur a chance to feel like they're day ones of a soon-to-be popular band, with this child named Tommy in it being their first subscriber. They must really like him because they even brought him on stage. Very nice of them to show love to a fan. Then again, anything Dream SMP related would just take off immediately. There was a scorching hot cult following back then. On May 9th, 2021, Lovejoy put out their first EP, Are You Alright?, after recording it in 2 days in March at Brighton Electric. Little recording was done due to budget concerns. Wilbur was forced to use his rough draft vocals on this release, and some of the lyrics here aren't even finished. They would later use the new lyrics live in concert, kicking off strong with roaring guitars and lush horn work on Taunt. Looking back on an X, realizing the poor communication and assumptions made. Oh hey Goggy, One Day is the driving radio hit of the record, hoping things will get better, even when life seems unpredictable. Wilbur and the rest of the band were on fire with this one. Gonna be hard to top. Everything about this slaps hard, especially the solo. Sex Sells is seemingly about cheating. Others will say it's about extortion or being jealous of your crush being with another man. With that being said, the hook and melody is amazing. I can see why this is such a fan favorite. Cause for concern seems to tackle domestic abuse and feeling stuck in a toxic situationship, unable to get help. However, Wilbur claims it's about a plane crash that has resulted in a fear of boarding one. Recording began at Small Pond Recording Studios after the band finished their first EP. Some of the record was written over a year ago by Will, with songs he has on his Twitch streams and Ash's vlogs. Pebble Brain is a breakup record towards England, released on October 14th, 2021, which reached number 12 in the UK, being certified silver in their home country. They also did a cover of Knee Deep at ADP by Los Campesinos later in the year. Oh Yeah, You Gonna Cry gave me Walking on Sunshine vibes, instrumentally teasing a woman's boyfriend as the relationship falls apart, believing he'll take his place. The driving slick bass line of Model Buses is Wilbur imagining himself meeting Boris Johnson, if he wasn't Prime Minister, at a pub. I Wish I Was Kidding. Concrete is an absolute banger that details a fight that happened in a Wetherspoon pub between Wilbur and someone else over a girl. If there's one takeaway from Wilbur, it's probably to steer clear of Witherspoon next time you're in England. Perfume is one of my favorites here with its infectious groove, mixing the ex who moved on, causing him to become bitter towards her and her new boyfriend, doubting they'll last. You'll understand when you're older follows the stress UK restaurant waiters faced during the COVID-19 pandemic, with one of the co-workers possibly dealing with an abusive relationship. The Fall takes the view of rich UK citizens who become bored and start to fear the working class below them. Okay, time to finally talk about It's All Futile, It's All Pointless, completely reworked from the 2019 acoustic version into something more melodic and Lovejoyified, exploring a couple with different looks on life. Wilbur wants to pay bills and settle down, but she wants to enjoy life now and avoid responsibility. Definitely a highlight. Lovejoy had this desire to start from the ground up, despite Wilbur's popularity. They spent most of the year of 2022 practicing for live shows and working in the studio. They arranged their first shows under fake names like Lamb with Sock, Ouija Board Madness, and Asbo Barbecue to attract new fans naturally. They would do zero advertising, just popping up in random venues and buzz quickly spread online. By their third show, they were selling out the venue. They don't know how, but they found them. Later in the year, they began getting noticed on mainstream radio, including BBC Radio 1, before setting out on their first tour that fall, playing in intimate venues across England. After signing with AWOL, they dropped Call Me What You Like on February 10th, 2023, reaching number 32 on the UK singles chart and impacting alt radio stations in the States at number 14. The band would share a track list as a puzzle on the Lovejoy leaked Twitter account. I guess this is their blurry face. Fans had to solve it by adding up numbers that matched the letters in each song title, based on their place in the alphabet. In early March 2023, the account's banner had a coded message that hinted the acronym WU/and-IO, which meant Wake Up and It's Over. Lovejoy would also go on the Inslav Spring Tour on April 7, 2023 using the name Anvil Cat, which is also the name of their label. The band released an acoustic EP from Studio 4 featuring acoustic versions of songs from their first EP, plus a new track Tomorrow. At a live show in London that month, the band shared a QR code that led to a website with the EP's release date. Their third EP, Wake Up and It's Over, came out on May 12, 2023, climbing to number 5 on the UK Albums Chart and number 94 in the US Billboard 200, followed by the Across the Pond tour in America and major festival appearances across the globe. This record appears to go in a post-punk revival direction with bass-heavy, revving riffs across it. Portrait of a Blank Slate has a sick drum solo as it follows a jealous man who wants to be with a girl who's already taken and believes he's too ordinary to compete. The hit Call Me What You Like begins with a catchy riff reminiscent of Arctic Monkeys before hitting you with an explosive, hard-hitting hook going through an uncertain relationship, wanting it to be more than a casual fling, but you're having a hard time committing. Wilbur sounds better than ever. This is up there with their best. Consequences sees Wilbur wishing he put in more effort in a relationship instead of wasting it through lazy, harmful activities. Warsaw covers a difficult, toxic relationship with someone struggling with addiction, attempting to avoid the same addiction and losing yourself doing it. Then there's Scum, where one day you're on top, the next you feel like scum. Love that gritty guitar solo and Wilbur screaming his head off though. Concluding with a fan favorite even before release, It's Golden Hour Somewhere, how money and wealth affect a relationship. The band denied its inclusion at first, but I'm guessing enough fan pressure led them to give in. A lot of energy and instrumental switch-ups, I can see why fans wanted it. In September 2023, they kicked off their Wake Up and It's Over tour across the UK, with fellow YouTuber gone musician James Marriott opening for them in select locations. Lovejoy started hinting at their debut album in late 2023, planning for a 2024 release. These previous 3 EPs were used to help figure out their sound that they seemed to find. On October 6, 2023, they dropped the intense garage rock single, Normal People Things, with a music video directed by fellow YouTuber Ted Nivison, meeting someone who's not ordinary in a good way. Wilbur would put out a few solo works like Soft Boy produced by Rumi, a callback to his earlier song topics with less acoustics, more driving instruments, where a lonely guy is trying to win over his dream girl by acting gentle and sensitive. Then there's another surprise solo album of his, Mammalian Sign Reflex, on November 29, 2023, that keeps a simple, exhausted acoustic sound like his earlier releases, but mixes in touches of rock and folk here and there. Every cent it made went to mental health charities. Amazon Standing Lamp? Pretty sure Wilbur joked about making a song with this title. His depression drove most of his friends away, leaving only the fake light of a lamp to brighten his life. The most popular song, Mine/Yours, is begging a girl to stay but doubts he's good for her. Around the Pomegranate is a moving tribute to the late Technoblade, wishing things could be normal. That outro is just devastating. I Don't Think It Will Ever End seems to be a spoken word conversation with his Twitch chat, struggling to open up about his issues. Glass Chalet finds Wilbur throwing stones from a glass house, hoping they'll bounce back and hit him, proving his own self-hate is justified. Then he's struggling to sleep on melatonin 130 and calm his anxiety properly even when he seems happy. Oh Distant You has this buzzy intro of Wilbur harmonizing before going back to normal, where he thinks about a girl who left him and wishes she would just come back. Eulogy is wishing life would be simpler, but fame makes that tough. Where Drop-Shipped Cat Shirt is where he is seemingly unsatisfied with life despite what he has accomplished, and is followed by this weird drum and bass passage before telling fans to forget about this record and not overanalyze it on the median. On Try Not to Think About It, he values feeling happy because it's something he feels he can't have, like love. Closing out with the 10-week rule, where he wants to leave his old self behind and start over as someone new. Up to this point, Wilbur and his band were unbelievably successful, mostly because the music was actually good. Even critics not invested with Minecraft or his channel seemed to enjoy what he was putting out. On January 16, 2024, it was announced that Lovejoy would perform at Coachella. Everything was looking great for Lovejoy. Until on February 21st, 2024, streamer Pebble spoke on Twitch about an abusive relationship she was in that crossed important boundaries, including acts of biting as a sign of love without consent and emotional manipulation. She described how he made her clean up after him and was so focused on fame that he would hurt others without guilt. Fans suspected this man was Wilbur Soot. And you know what? Wilbur admitted he was that man and later posted a statement on February 27th admitting some wrongdoing, saying he had become selfish and disrespectful, apologizing for hurting her, and claimed the biting was consensual and playful. I don't know if this is a hot take, but in a relationship, I still think biting is very weird. However, many people criticize his apology for downplaying the abuse and not even saying her name. Pebble didn't believe Wilbur's apology was sincere and said she would never forgive him. Another fling of Wilbur's needed to backed her claims, saying he had also bitten her and caused bruises. This response led to a resurgence of old videos where Wilbur showed aggression. Shelby thanked supporters publicly, and shortly after, Wilbur removed some moderators for speaking up and added suspicious accounts, which many think were to avoid Twitch rules and mock the situation. Colleagues like Quackity distanced from Wilbur. More claims of sexual assault came out against him from cosplayer Alice Naya. Wilbur has not responded to this claim. Safe to say, these revelations drastically slowed down Lovejoy's rise and caused Wilbur to lose support from pretty much everyone. Lovejoy shared on Twitter that they'd be taking a break because of Wilbur's mental health. All their previously announced festival appearances would be cancelled. Since responding to the accusations from Pebble, he hadn't made any more public statements, stating in June 2024 he had made all the statements he needed to and the band would be returning soon. Following that big break, Lovejoy returned to the stage in August 2024 for an Australian Japan tour and continued to record their debut like nothing happened. I'll Look Good When I'm Sober came out after, seeing Wilbur wanting to get back with an ex, begging her to wait until these guys act together. However, Wilbur was still not out of trouble. On February 18, 2025, another streamer and affiliate of his, Rue, accused him of grooming and sexual assault during their relationship in 2024 when she was 17 and he was 26. Wilbur has yet to respond to this one too. Lovejoy still formally began their debut album Arrow with an official teaser on May 22nd, 2025. It was this mysterious trailer that had its own soundtrack that hinted the sound would be much different from their EPs, and most fans were excited despite what happened with Wilbur. Fans quickly searched the video for hidden clues and even found secret lyrics in some frames. On June 6, 2025, they announced the first single with Rob as my witness, arrived on June 20th, 2025. The song's really good, no one can deny that fact, exploring the idea of being forced to fight a battle he knows he's going to lose. As of recently, Wilbur has given us an update on June 19th where he just looks out of it. I hope he takes his words to heart and actually gets therapy because this is concerning. The main message here is that he doesn't want to sort these issues out online and wants to keep things private, which is fair. I guess he's also coming back to YouTube too. Where we go from here, nobody entirely knows. I truly hope Pebble and he can figure this out somehow, but it is strange how he claims to have evidence of being innocent yet he doesn't show it. Plus the fact that his closest friends Tommy and Phil don't even want to acknowledge him is pretty telling. It leaves me in a weird position as a former fan of Wilbur because I still enjoy a lot of his music and his past content. I do believe in separating the art from the artist unless they're actively talking about what they did in the music, even if he does portray himself as pretty flawed like Zach Bryan does for his discography. So I'm sure I'm not alone here when I just wish none of this happened in the first place. I wish Wilbur was a better person who handled his relationships with women better. I'm glad whoever was affected spoke out. If Wilbur is truly innocent, I'd be curious to see the evidence. Until then, it seems like this is a pattern when it comes to every woman he's been with. Such a shame that a talent like Wilbur has completely shot himself in the foot over and over. An unfortunate case for his band, friends, and fans. This is not the person I thought he was a half a decade ago. It's like we're seeing a repeating cycle of Minecraft YouTubers screwing up just like the last generation. Technoblade was my only hope, the reason I was still watching Minecraft content year after year, all because of him. But sadly, we know what happened. I'm just gonna wrap this up here because things are gonna get too dark. I anticipate what's to come with Lovejoy. Hopefully Wilbur gets better. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more base content, even if this one was more tough to talk about. I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to love all, and peace.